I'm doing good.
Yeah.
My week was a little crazy.
Oh, girl. Me too.
I know I told you I wanted to tell you something, but I wanted to save it for the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
Okay, so Wednesday, I went out grocery shopping, took
Mm-hmm.
my mom with me, had my 1 year old.
Okay.
I'm on the way to take her back home on Sierra Highway, and there's a construction zone. The car in front of me slams on their brake so hard, I have to slam on my brakes.
Okay.
Okay, girl behind me didn't get the memo. She hit me, rear ends me, and I'm pissed.
Right.
Like immediately. One, my
Immediately.
baby's in the car. Two, my mom's in the car. She already has like a bad neck.
Poor
She's
Bonnie.
older. I know. And she has car anxiety. So then that like on top of everything, I was like, "Oh my god, I just ruined my mom's life again?"
First
So
the kids, then the car accident.
and I'm like, this cannot be happening. Also, my birthday was yesterday, so I'm like
Oh, yeah. Happy
2 days.
birthday.
Thank you. 2 days before my birthday, I'm getting into this, like, car accident. Thank God, everybody was safe. My baby's fine. My car's fine, like, she dented the back of my, minivan door, but it still opens. We haven't, checked to see if my frame is
Mm.
messed up, which I'm praying to God it's not, because usually they will total your car if that's the case.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's craziness.
Oh, my gosh. That is wild. Well, my week was also wild. I had like the worst case of strep ever.
Ugh, I know.
It was so funny because like Monday, I was fine. And Monday night, I met my macros perfectly and I ate this yogurt at bedtime. And then as I was going to bed, I was like, my mouth is itchy. I wonder if it's the yogurt. And so I woke up the next morning and my throat hurt real bad. And I was like,
That is not the yogurt.
maybe I'm just allergic to the yogurt. No. And when I went to work, I took Benadryl and then I was like, nah, it's really hurting.
Oh,
So
no. Did you
at
leave
the
early?
Yeah, I did. I left like a half hour early. So I was like, I texted my boss and was like, I'm going to go get a strep test. Wednesday, I didn't work. I rested, did everything you're supposed to do. Wednesday night into Thursday, I was worse. And I was on an antibiotic. So I was like, 4:30 a.m. I sat up and I was like, my ears hurt, my throat hurts, I can't swallow. I'm going to the hospital.
Yeah.
And so I did. And then they gave me a shot and a steroid and sent me home. And then I had all the energy and felt better by one. And I was like, okay. And then it got to like night of Thursday and I was like, my throat hurts again.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so I've been doing ibuprofen and just that with the throat. But I'm like, I wasn't able to open my mouth and like talk.
That is insane. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever had strep throat, but my daughter
Mm.
recently did. She's 5, and she would just cry.
Hmm.
And I was like, "I'm pretty sure she has strep throat."
Hmm. Well, it's funny because I think people always think it comes with a cough and it doesn't. It's like
Right.
just pain.
Um,
And
Also, it can make you throw up.
yes, and that was my worst fear because you do like and I'm still like sore,
Yeah.
but my thought was if I have to throw up, I can't open my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm going to choke and die.
Oh, no.
No. Oh, welcome.
We just got right into it.
We just went right into how was your week? Um, I'm Karin,
And I'm Gloria.
and we are here for the company and all of the
Mhm.
chaos. And if
Yeah.
you know our parents or anybody else, just know that these are our opinions and we do not represent them or
Yeah.
anything. Um, yeah, we're talking about a family today.
A terrible, terrible mother.
So we're going to be talking about Ruby Franke and the eight
AKA
passengers.
8 passengers. Yeah.
Yeah. And the chaos. I think our biggest passion with this one is the child exploitation
Mm-hmm.
and like putting your kids on the internet and how dangerous it can be. Um, I, when I first had kids and had Instagram and was a photographer, I was just like, I'm gonna share everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could do this. And I actually had like, I have mom blog type friends that we've been friends for years because we met on Instagram, but a lot of them like never shared the faces of their children or anything.
Yeah.
And I was always like really shocked. And didn't know how they did it. And now I like try not to for the most part. Honestly, because my kids asked me to not
Yeah.
show them.
Yeah. I will
Yeah.
say, like, I don't see anything wrong with having like a personal Instagram that's private that has like people you know on it. Cause like my
Yeah.
Instagram is private. There's nobody on there that I don't know.
Right.
So for me, like sharing my kids, obviously, I don't mind.
Right.
But I definitely have thought about it a lot
Mm-hmm.
more, especially because my oldest is a teenager now.
Yeah.
And I don't post her that often.
No, I haven't seen any pictures of her recently.
I know. Yeah, I don't post. And it's harder to get pictures of older kids. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
Even my son, he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I ask him to take a picture and it's always like a crazy face or like
Yeah.
he does something silly. And my daughter often is like, I don't like that picture. You know, she's in that
Yeah.
like phase.
I think
So,
something to remember, like, because we've grown up watching social media evolve, is you
right.
can take a picture and not have to post it.
Oh my God. That's what I do now.
Yeah, same.
Like I'll do like monthly, like, oh, here's some shit that
Mm-hmm.
happened in April.
Yeah.
And I'll post like, that.
Yeah.
But I
'Cause
won't post like daily and if I do, here's my coffee. Here's the toast I'm eating. Here's the bread I made. Like,
the bread, yeah, I love the bread.
yeah, I love it.
Even your sister posted her sourdough rye bread.
I know. I'm over here just making people have sourdough.
You're influencing everybody.
Oh my God, I'm an influencer. Crazy.
And you don't even post every day or put a crazy filter on.
No, I don't. And because I don't like posting every day. I don't see a point in posting every day.
When it's hard because having been the business owner and I had a huge photography business and
Yeah.
you almost like you have to post every day or you have to like stay consistent. So like I was
Right.
posting 2 to 3 times a week. So I would sit down and I would schedule and I would make reels and I would have batch filming days and I would have batch editing days. And someone I was talking to last night was like, oh, why did you stop photography? Because they're just starting. And I was like,
Oh.
I'm honestly so busy. Like my kids are at a point in their life where they have things they want to do. And
Yeah.
I don't want to have to say, no, I have a wedding. No, I have a this. No, I have a that. And I have a 10-hour day that day. And yeah, so it burns out quickly.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do it anymore. But
well, especially when your kids are older too. Like they want to do sports and
yes,
like there's a lot of craziness that comes with having
and
older kids.
And I think a big part of like what made me stop posting them was them communicating. Like they are hearing at school things that other kids or seeing because kids have phones, right? My kids don't, but they're able to see like so and so's mom posted. I don't want everyone to see my photo.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest pauses once was I was going to post a picture of my youngest, and she goes, "Well, who's going to see it though?" And I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, technically anybody. And she was like,
yeah.
Please don't post it. I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like your kids are from another planet.
Dude, same. Yes. Ruby Franke. Okay. So I watched a documentary about her, but I didn't I didn't know anything about her when she was actually on YouTube, but I
Oh, same.
did around the time her channel she started taking things offline.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching like Fun Day Fridays and Jordan and McKay and a lot of ex-Mormons that were leaving the
Okay.
church and sharing their experiences during COVID.
Oh, okay.
And so they would post her content and be like, why is she doing this? Or why is she sharing this? This is odd. So, quick background of her, we'll start with. So, what I have is she was a vampire. That's just went there, but that's not what I was going to say. She was a family vlogger. Anyways, she was born in January of 1982 in Utah. She grew up a devout Mormon and had 3 sisters, all of whom are still on YouTube.
Yeah.
In 2000, she married Kevin, a former engineering professor. Even in the documentary, it never said like when he left.
Right.
But he was teaching at BYU, which is the most renowned Mormon university.
Yeah.
They went on to have 6 kids. We're not going to name them, but the oldest are Sherry and Chad. And the youngest 4 are still under the age of 18 and are the victims. Well, the youngest 2 are the biggest victims in this case, but they're all victims.
Yeah.
And all of those kids were born between 2003 and 2013. Ruby's sister started doing YouTube. I don't know which one. Don't ask me. And it took off. So she was like, hey, we could do this. And so she just started filming like day-to-day stuff. And 8 Passengers was born. She documented her family's daily life in Utah. So Ruby and her family are members of the Church of Latter-day Saints. And you will find a lot of influencers, a lot of family influencers are actually Mormon. So I wanted a lot you wouldn't even expect.
Really?
So my girls are obsessed with the Outdoor Boys.
Never heard of them.
Well, they're big. And Sean, when he was teaching high school, the kids were always like, you look like the guy from Outdoor Boys. Like even the kids knew who they were. And Bucket List Family.
I don't think I know who those are either.
Really? I'll send them to you. Just so stinking many. But the crazy thing about Mormon influencing families is to be supposedly, allegedly, to be a part of a Mormon temple, you have to pay 10% of your earnings.
Wow.
And like, it's not just like, hey, maybe tell us your 10%. No, it's like, what's your W-2? Send that to me. Because if you don't, allegedly, I don't know any of this is fact. This is what I've heard from people I know who are Mormon. If you do not pay the 10%, you are not allowed to attend temple.
Wow.
Yeah, you can attend your like normal congregation, but you can't be in the temple. You can't get married in the temple. And we're going to talk about why that's so important to Ruby and Kevin.
Okay.
If you watch the documentary, Kevin says several times, I was so devoted to her because this was my eternal family.
Yeah.
Which, like, as a Christian, you're just like, what does that mean? Okay.
Also, I'm pretty sure that it is said once we go to heaven, like, we won't be married. We'll
be separate from the body and present with Christ. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've never thought for a second that I would somehow would it be amazing if we get to heaven and we get to like chill together? Yes.
Yes.
I never have had that belief though. And so if we get that, that's awesome. I don't think the Bible teaches that, but I don't know that it doesn't necessarily say like you're in a one-on-one room with Jesus for the rest of your life. So I don't know. But I think that's the cool thing about Christianity is God gives us very specific things and other things are left to our imagination, and not even imagination, but like faith. You just have to believe that
Yeah.
God is good. He has it figured out. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not worried
if
about
we
it.
get to hang out in heaven, we'll actually be living on the same in the same area
For the first time
first
in
time in years.
so many years.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the Mormon religion, allegedly, eternal families. This is Mormons believe that families can be sealed together for eternity through sacred temple ordinances, not just till death do us part. These bonds continue after life if individuals remain faithful. So did you grow up ever watching Sister Wives?
Girl, I still be watching Sister Wives.
Oh, same.
I'm
I
addicted
watched
to that
those
show.
kids grow up, right? Like you watch
Yes.
that and you're like, we're all the same age. We all have this, like, it's crazy to watch it all fall apart.
For real.
Yeah. So a 1995 statement issued by the church leaders emphasizes the divine nature of a family, gender roles, and responsibilities in parenting and marriage. It asserts that the family is central to the Creator's plan for an eternal destiny of his children. I find this all very generic, wishy-washy
Culty
wordage.
vibes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. So the first thing is marriage. Marriage is sacred and eternal. Temple marriage is called sealing. So that's the most sacred type of marriage. So that's what also wild.
If you don't get to go to the temple, it's like you're not sealed for eternity.
So you will find a lot of Mormons, some Mormons are sealed in the temple and some are not. And sealing has changed a great deal, but you can only attend a sealing if you are a devout Mormon paying, practicing. The sealing is performed in an LDS temple, and it is meant to unite a husband and a wife, not only for life, but for eternity. Again, I don't know any of this as fact. I just just consume a lot of content. It's just constantly in my head.
Right.
Marriage is always between a man and a woman. The LDS Church teaches that marriage is ordained of God and should be between a man and a woman. This is the doctrinal, I don't know, cornerstone tied closely to their views on procreation and eternal roles. Typically, the man is seen as the priesthood and the holder and the provider, while the woman is often viewed as the nurturer. The Mormon religion is so crazy to me because I just don't understand. Like, because they say they're Christians.
Yeah, they do. And I think it's weird because they worship a human being.
And
like the guy.
They don't believe in Jesus the way we do.
Well, I was watching Chad, the oldest son. I was watching that podcast that you had sent me. He said that they do believe in Jesus. So
they believe he existed.
Okay.
So I don't know all the ins and outs. But they believe that Jesus existed and then died and rose again. And then when he rose again, he popped up over here in America.
Yes, he talked about that.
Yes.
But he said that he doesn't believe that now.
Okay.
And he, I guess is like still believes in God and wants to have a relationship with him, just not a Mormon one.
Sherry is the oldest daughter. She still does believe in the Mormon religion. Josh talks about that a lot from Dad Challenge podcast. He says all the time, like, I just pray that she finds clarity and that she'll leave the cult. What you're going to find is they become a part of a cult within a cult, which is actually very common. If you didn't know about like Nexium and I don't know, every religion ever, Christianity, you can become a part of a cult or a part of a church that is very culty.
Literally anything can become a freaking
I think
cult.
a lot of people found out during COVID that their church was a cult. Like Yeah. Anyways. So the next responsibility of the Mormon church is children, and they are the divine responsibility. Uh, they are a spiritual mandate. So having children is seen as a commandment and a sacred responsibility. Members are encouraged to multiply and replenish the earth as part of God's plan.
That's why they have like a lot of children.
Mm-hmm. And the planets that they create, like their children essentially populate those planets. Girl, again, my brain cannot. I have too many things to stress about than creating the population for planets.
We have a lot of Mormons where we live.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. We live in a very, very small town, but there is a temple like 15 minutes from our little town. There's like another little town with a temple. So we do have a lot of Mormons in our area. And there was one lady out here, and we can leave this in because I don't fucking know her. She had 8 kids at the time she was living out here. They moved.
Oh my god.
Her last kid, because he was number 10 in their family, they named him XIO.
Like X I
Like 10.
Oh.
They named him 10, Karen. And this woman, our daughters used to do cheer together. And she had her baby with her.
She related
Very
to Elon
cute.
Musk.
Right? Very cute baby, by the way. But I asked his name, and she told me his name, and I had to try not to react to his name.
Oh no.
In person. And I have a lot of facial expressions. So yeah.
That would have been hard.
It was
This is when I know I need Botox. Like
for real.
Oh my goodness.
My husband always tells me like, hey,
fix your face.
Yeah. You cannot control your face. I'm like, what? I thought I was. I'm doing great.
Also tells me that.
He's like, yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah. Not doing so hot. It's fine. It's fine. I got it. It's fine.
Oh my God.
I will say none of this is to say Mormons do this, the things we're about to learn about blanketly or anything like that. I have a lot of Mormons in my life that I love and have known over the years. And where we grew up was very Mormon heavy. And like my favorite school teachers ever were Mormons. And it's funny because I've met people later in life that knew them growing up too in different like wild how closely related the Mormon church is. I just don't believe what they believe. And
and that's okay. I have friends that are or were
I don't
in the Mormon church
and love them any less. I honestly don't care. Like I want them to believe in the God that I believe in, and I want them to go to heaven, and I'm willing to be their friend regardless whether they
I don't like organized religion in general.
I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want you to think that I'm just like Mormons suck, because that's not how I feel.
Right. Same.
Ruby Franke sucks. Let's just get that straight. In this whole thing, Ruby Franke sucks. I'm just trying to explain why she believed the way she believed about the kids. And
it's what you do with what you believe, like how you use it. Because she used it to control. That's when it becomes a problem. When you use religion as a way to control, that's when you become a cult.
Okay. So the third important thing to remember about children in the Mormon faith is they have a life before they are born. So they are believed to exist as spirits before birth, and as part of the parent's divine role is to help them come to earth and prepare for eternal life. So a lot of times you might hear Ruby, well, I don't know that we're going to play any part of her, but she might say things like they had to be evil spirits or dark spirits or things like that. And that's because they believe that those can happen to you before ever becoming your child.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So 2015, 8 Passengers launches. Documenting daily life in Utah In 2015, they had a video called Baby Climbs Out of Crib, and that was their first video to go viral. And they received their first check. Kevin said it was about $85. But they grow to be 2.8 million followers, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 million followers with over 1 billion views at its peak. And during that time, Kevin says they were making about $100,000 a month.
I could not imagine. I don't even know what I would do with $100,000 a month.
Mm-mm. And it's kind of crazy. So Sherry explains that like there was a time where it was exciting, right? Like Sherry remembers the first video ever going to be about her, like her mom would do. And here's Sherry, and here's Chad, and then do a video about them. Sherry was like so excited. She remembers that being so cool. And then she goes, it evolved to, hey, we're on this brand deal trip. You need to behave in front of the camera. I'll give you $100. Several, I have seen like lists of video names of theirs that were controversial. So it's like, daughter gets her first period.
I hate that.
Help us teach our daughter how to shave her legs. Let's go shopping for Sherry's first bra.
Ew.
There was one clip I saw of like Chad where someone went through his phone or something and they were like, oh, you have a crush on this girl? And he was like, no, we're just friends. But like it became this whole dinner table topic and you could tell he was like internally shutting down.
So sad.
Yes. What I gathered from the documentary is as the kids grow older and they're picking up that things are happening and things are being shared and you have to remember, they're employees.
Mm-hmm.
And literally and figuratively outlined in law, they were employees.
Yeah.
The LLC was created and they became paid employees, which it sounds like Ruby actually paid her kids, but it sounds like it was mostly a bribe. So
yeah,
it wasn't like, hey, let's share this fun part of our life. It became, and she said stuff like this, shut up, pretend to be happy so that we can film this and then you can go do whatever you want. Chad said along the age of 14, he stopped being allowed to hang out with friends because friends don't want to film and friends' parents don't want them to film. So he stopped seeing friends.
He also said that when he did go hang out with friends, he would have to come home and talk about everything that he did.
Oh my gosh.
Like she would sit him down and be like, oh, what did you do?
Yeah.
And he would have to like, he said he felt like he was living life on repeat. He just had to
Kevin said
keep
the same
living
thing.
through these things.
Mm-hmm. Kevin said the same thing. He said, I would go to work and I would come home and my wife would immediately greet me with a camera in my face and I would tell her about my day. But in reality, I was sharing it with 2.5 million people.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Chad said in the or not in the documentary, but in his interview that I watched. He was saying
this was on the Squeeze podcast with Taylor Lautner and Taylor Lautner.
Taylor and Taylor.
Taylor and Taylor Lautner.
He said that, you know, sometimes when he was like having a hard time or he was sad, he would want to talk to his mom, but he wouldn't want to do it on camera. So he would be like, oh, I want to talk to you, but I don't want to talk to you on camera. And he said she'd put the camera down. We'd have a conversation. But once I was
done,
softened, she would put the camera in my face again and it would be on film. And he said it got to a point where he was having these moments with his mom, but he was talking to the camera.
Yeah.
So it was like, sad. Yeah, it's not meaningful.
Right.
It's tainted.
Mm-hmm. So we're not going to show you clips in this because honestly, they sold them to Netflix or Hulu. And they're, I mean, not that we're going to get a copyright strike or anything. We're not copywritten, but we're just not going to put them in here. I honestly found it hard to watch. I can watch murder documentaries all day long.
Yeah.
I struggled to watch what's about to unfold.
Well, and anything that involves kids, I have a hard time watching.
Yes.
Especially if it's kids that are being abused. It's very hard to see things like that.
So we're just going to go through the story as it progresses, and then we'll explain kind of the fallout. But essentially, Chad starts having a really hard time. Chad and his sister, the oldest four, are in public school.
Mm-hmm.
And Sherry is getting ready to graduate high school. Chad is really struggling. He gets expelled from school. So the mom reaches out to the Mormon church, allegedly, and receives a list of psychiatrists, psychologists that are recommended by the Mormon church. And Jodi Hildebrandt was at one time on that list. And she was at one time also a psychologist, hence being on the list. At the time she was recommended to Ruby Franke, she was no longer a psychologist. But Ruby Franke, well, we think Ruby Franke didn't know that, but Sherry later finds out that her mom did know that. She was no longer a psychologist because she was counseling men in the Mormon church with addictions to pornography, and in doing so leaked. So BYU, Utah, all of it's connected in a way that the rest of the world will never understand unless you've ever been in a cult. And like very similarly with Scientology, if you are in Scientology, you are employed by someone who is higher up than you or owns a company, but is very much involved in the religious cult or the cult in general. It doesn't have to be religious. So in this instance, these men, a lot of them were employed by Mormon families, and Jodi would counsel them about their porn addiction, and she would go to their employers and explain that they had an addiction to porn. And in the Mormon religion, that is not okay. Like that, you can't admit that you have a problem, and they would get fired. So these men filed formal complaints, and she had her psychologist thing removed. Like she was not allowed to practice.
Isn't she not
anymore.
supposed to divulge any information?
Yeah. No, that's
like what?
This is why cults are so dangerous, because people lose sight of the law that dictates their practice or dictates what they do is no longer the law to them, because their most important thing is to the deity or the leader or whatever they think they're serving. And that, I think, is what happened with Jodi. Gosh, I struggled to watch this documentary. Because I know and recognize spiritual warfare, but I also know and recognize when someone's just freaking nuts and they're faking it. Like, I think so. Chad starts getting expelled. They're having a hard time. They start sending him to Jodi, and hearing him describe the first time he got on a call with her, he was like, you know what? I'm going to be able to get through this. I'm going to get on. And they all got on a video call together, and he was like, I'm ready to do this. Like, I'm ready to get better. And he said, Jodi just looked at him and said, you're lying.
Yeah.
And he said he just sank because he knew he couldn't bullshit her. But then he also developed a relationship with her. Like, this was his psychologist for years.
Yeah.
So he began to trust her, and he did trust her and went to her for years and years. And even after he leaves the house and is no longer allowed to be affiliated with his family because Jodi isolates them, he is still seeing Jodi. That's the craziest part about this whole story, is over time, Jodi slowly isolates every member of this family into their own little pocket of the world.
Yeah.
And the one thing they all still do is meet with Jodi.
Yes. All of them.
Except for Sherry.
Yeah.
Because women are You got to isolate the men.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever woman was her target, I think, was her like main focus. And I would love to know if this was the only family she ever did this to. I would love to know if she did this to any other family, because it just seems so targeted to me and insane.
It does.
It comes to the point where Jodi says, okay, Chad's having problems. We're going to send him to a wilderness camp. So I wanted to talk about this wilderness camp for a minute, because this is the Anasazi Foundation. This is actually, they say it's not affiliated with a religion, but a lot of Mormon Utah families have sent their kids there.
Mm-hmm.
It started as a wilderness therapy program. So this is where they sent Chad when he was 16.
Right.
And it's designed to help adolescents and young adults facing behavioral, emotional, and relational challenges. It was established in 1988, and it offers outdoor-based therapeutic experiences that aim to foster personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
So what stemmed this, according to Chad in the YouTube video where it was first discussed, was, and I've done this to my siblings, they wanted to play a joke on the second youngest boy. So they ran into his room and they were like, we're going to Disney.
Right.
And he got up and he got excited, and they weren't going to Disney. And so Chad's parents removed his door from his bedroom, took his bed away, and then he got expelled, and it just unraveled from there. So they sent him to this camp.
Yeah.
For a joke and for honestly falling apart, because his life was not his own.
Right. Which is crazy that it was over a joke.
Yes, everyone knew these kids. Like, they said they would drive down the middle of the road, like in a car, and people would honk and know them.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not have friends because they couldn't film people.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have a social life. They had each other, and that was it. And he was falling apart. And I just can only imagine.
And their license plate on their van said 8 passengers.
Oh my gosh. The sticker family. Don't have the sticker family on your car with your kids' names. And don't have your kid's name on your license plate. Or like the first time I ever looked at my kid and she realized more people than she even knew were going to see her photo. And she said, please don't post it. In that moment, I just thought, oh my gosh, like, I don't want anyone to see my kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a personal thing. And some people I know share their kids all the time. And I don't think anything less of them or think anything of it. My kids have said, I don't want my friends to know things about me if you share it on the internet. So I try really hard to protect that part of their life.
Yeah. And I will say that I do think that if you have a huge platform and a huge following, that, yeah, I don't think you should share your kids.
Oh, yeah. Or their name. Like, it's all so hard for me because we just didn't grow up on the internet.
I mean,
we grew up in the shady parts of the internet, but we didn't grow up public. Like,
girl, I was in chat rooms talking to grown men.
Do you know how jealous I was of your dead journal?
Oh my God. I wish I could access that. My dead journal. Oh, I would just write all the time. And
I know.
Thinking
I wanted
about
one
that now,
so bad.
Why couldn't you have one?
I thought you had to be like invited.
Oh, maybe.
I think so, because I think Tommy was your invite, and and then I tried to get you or Tommy to invite me, and it like, I don't. You guys were probably like, you poor little girl, you don't need one. You have a life. You have a normal life. So,
we're like these emo kids that like need to have a thing.
I was emo too. I grew up in the same world you guys did.
True.
I wanted one so bad. I
love Dead Journal.
Yeah, I wanted one. I would read yours. I could access and read them. I just couldn't have one where I could write my own stuff.
I wish I remembered my Dead Journal name, because if I remembered, I could access my Dead Journal.
It's not Globies?
No, I'm going to go on the website right now.
Daria's photo bucket or whatever that was Bessie. And for
What?
years would have to remember how many M's.
Oh my God. It's still here.
What is?
Dead journal. It still lives.
Stop it.
You have to know your username.
I know.
How do I? Now it's all I want to do. I want to
You
figure
might
out what my fucking
sorry.
dead journal was.
You
I'm
might
gonna
try the way
ask.
back.
I'm gonna ask Lizzie if she remembers.
Listen, I just remember I wish I could still rate my friends because I wouldn't have any. Still be Tom on my top 8.
Bro, I will say, you know what I think is like the new top 8? Your pinned people in your text messages. That's the new top 8. Because
Mine's my husband. That's my
it?
family. Yeah. So I have a group chat with my family, which
These are
sometimes they get
mine.
blocked. Oh my gosh. So look,
You're one of them.
I don't know if I can get this to focus. Oh shoot, we're not gonna read my messages. Oh my gosh, that was my boss too. Okay, so I mean, I should pin you. You're just always at the top.
I know, because we talk a lot. But yeah, I
Um,
pin you because it's easier for me to just go in and be like, oh, I have to text Karin. So like, there you are.
But I mean,
And I
it's
have
smart.
all my siblings
Yeah.
and my 2 kids and my mom.
So my family, we talk pretty regularly. Sometimes we all block each other and we just spend a couple days not talking, and then other days we rejoin the group. But so top 2 is just my husband, who is his name. Oh, well, not his name. It's just husband.
Yeah.
A sunflower and a water gun. And then my family group chat is just Fam Jam group chat. John changes the name occasionally, and the picture is a classic. I wish I could even
View it.
Yeah, John, will you do me a favor and will you send me that picture? We'll make it the episode art for this.
Okay. Episode idea.
Okay.
We talk about early internet, MySpace, like all.
Oh my God. Okay. So Anasazi Wilderness Camp, I actually think this sounds amazing, but at 15 I would have died. They essentially took these kids into the wilderness for 2 weeks at a period of time with nothing.
Yeah.
To see if they could survive.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing Chad talk about it and say, like, he said he's never been more afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got back, there was a reveal video of like, yay. I don't know totally, but I believe Anasazi has been shut down. There were several of these. So Paris Hilton discusses one in her documentary. Concerns have been raised about the long-term efficacy and potential for cultural sensitivity. They're unregulated. I think that's the biggest thing is you are sending your children to a camp where nobody is certified. Nobody has, you don't even know if they have CPR.
Yeah.
They're taking your kids in the desert for 2 weeks without water or food.
You don't even know these people.
How do they know them?
No, I said you don't even know these people.
No, you don't know them.
What if they're pedophiles?
Sean tells me when he was a kid, like in the 4th or 5th grade, they had a school sleepover.
Excuse me, like at the school?
So my girls were asking when they were going to have one. And I was like,
Never.
College. Nope. What we're not going to do is send you to school. Okay. So
Wow.
the basis of this is they send Chad away. He comes back and he's like, I am in shape. Whatever you want me to do, I'm here. It's so controlling and it's so sad because every second of their day is being shared, and every private moment, every text they have where a guy might say that he likes them is being shared. Bra shopping? I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I'm a grown-ass woman, and my entire life I haven't wanted a single bra moment shared.
No, anything personal about me. That's another thing too, is these people share doctor's appointments, any little thing that they think this is going to make us money, they will share about their kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For profit. It's crazy.
And Chad shares the moment. He accidentally says on camera, because she's filming, right? They're in the
Mhm.
hallway and they're filming. And she goes, I've never taken anything away from you guys for less than 6 minutes because it has to teach you a lesson. And
Mhm.
he goes, yes, I haven't had a bedroom in 6 months. And everyone in the family agrees that is the moment where the tides changed for them. The algorithm put them on a different platform and they were suddenly no longer liked.
Yeah,
That
they weren't
was,
being pushed anymore.
and not even pushed, they were being
Shadow banned?
people, not shadow banned. They were being seen. They were being clipped. And people were like,
A
look at
lot.
this mom.
Mhm.
Yes. So the next thing that she did that caught controversy was sorry, I did some research and it's not in my Google Doc. And I'm like, where the heck is it? So I'm going to go find it so that I can talk about it in a minute. But
In her video, that same video, where he
mhm,
talks about how he was sleeping on a beanbag for 6 months,
mhm.
she in the video looks at him and goes, "Oh, don't tell people that. Like they're not going to like that." But
Yeah.
chooses to keep
To
it
leave
in
it.
the episode. So whose fault is it really? And he said that she yelled at him when things like came out and people were
Yeah.
commenting, that she went like, "Why would you say that?" And he said
Yeah.
she turned into a completely different person.
In the documentary, Chad and Sherry do such a good job of explaining our mom was perfect.
Yeah.
The mom we knew, the mom we loved was perfect. That mom started a YouTube channel. And at first we shared how cool we were and how normal we were. But then we had to be normal to share. And she changed and all of their relationships started to fall apart. And the documentary shows clips of her saying like, shut the up. I'm trying to film. Why
Like,
am I even hearing you make noise?
yes.
Did you hear Kevin
That
say, we're getting ready for church?
yes. And she's in there filming a video.
Yeah, for markers or
And
something insane.
and she's like really quiet, and she's like trying to get like it's so weird to watch somebody in that like
And then she
habitat that
snaps.
they're in. It's yes.
Yes. It's so crazy because I feel like we've all seen our parents in those moments, right? Where you're like, especially if you were a pastor's daughter or military kid and you like have to go somewhere for your parents' work.
Yeah.
And like everything is chaos until you arrive and then you better freaking be on your best behavior.
Right.
And then it all gets to fall apart at the end, but like kids deserve that time to fall apart at the end. And in this house, it wasn't being allowed.
Yeah.
And Sherry explains that at one point, she does say very specifically that she doesn't think Jodi. So remember, in all of this, they're all still seeing Jodi. The husband's a part of a husband group, and Ruby's who knows what. And Chad is being
Psychologically
seeing her therapist, despite her not having her license. So they're all intertwined with her. Their life is dwindling, but they're not getting the time to fall apart.
No.
Every second they fall apart, their mom becomes abusive. And so Sherry explains, I don't think Jodi did that to my mom. I think Jodi unlocked a part of my mom that already existed and allowed for it to be. And I think that's so important. Like she already had that ability in her.
Yes.
The crazy thing for me is the ability to turn it on and off. Like my parents don't have that.
Yeah.
My parents are transparent. Like if we were somewhere and we did something they didn't like, it wasn't like, oh, that's silly kid. They'd be like, bitch, don't do. My parents didn't call me a bitch. I'm sorry. My parents would be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
But Ruby has the ability to be like, oh, we're so perfect. And then beat her son so bad that Sherry has to scrub blood off the walls. And I can't imagine that. I've never been hit like that by my parents.
Ever. Me either.
Or by anybody else.
Same.
Yeah. I had to clean my neighbor's blood out of my garage, but that was a different story.
Lordy.
But it hurts me so much to know that these kids, and 2 of them are our age, maybe a little bit younger, but like grew up in a strict Christian household, what they believe to be Christian. And it just, I don't know. This whole case just kills me.
I wouldn't say I grew up in a strict household.
Well, yeah.
My household was a little chaotic, but my mom did have certain views and rules and things that she wanted and expected from us, for sure.
Yeah. I also don't think our house was necessarily strict. There were certain things that just were not in our lives. Like, my parents didn't drink. My parents didn't do drugs.
Yeah.
But we lived in a place where those things were being done and they weren't talked about. So,
right.
And we weren't shown them.
Yeah.
And so I think my parents kept us home more, and they had like their trusted people they let us be around. And it doesn't, at the time it felt strict because we weren't allowed to go to friends' houses that may have had other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But looking back now, it wasn't strict. It was just, instead, I wish we had had the conversations. I wish we had been told, this is alcohol. This is why we don't drink. Because I didn't really have those talks until I was like in college. I was like, my mom doesn't drink. I've never seen my mom drink alcohol at all. But like, I never thought that was weird.
Yeah.
I never saw anybody drink alcohol.
Yeah. I would agree. I think conversations are great.
I made him listen to it on the way last night.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and he's like, hard to follow. And you're like, what?
He goes, you guys are jumping around. And I was like, no, we're talking.
This is how ADHD people talk. And it's fine. Okay. I told you, me and my sisters are the same. And our husbands are like, what the fuck is going on? And we're just like, this is who we are.
You know how special it is to be able to find a friend who you can lose. You can go down that rabbit hole with. And then you can be like, so Jodi was freaking nuts. And you guys catch up where you are. Like, it's so perfect. And honestly, I will tell you, having ADHD is so stressful because I saw something the other day and it was so relatable. And it said, the reason people say I have ADHD or I have autism or I have this is because they think you need context to understand. And I apologize to my boss all the time. I'm like, I'm sorry for my ADHD brain. Here's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And she always goes, it's not as bad as you think it is. And I'm like,
you're like, and here it is.
I wish you knew.
Yeah.
I'm like about to cry. Yeah. It's like, it's incredibly isolating and you're very much in your own head. So things are progressing with Jodi. 8 Passengers is falling apart. So they decide they're going to shift gears a little bit. And Jodi starts this company. It was already running, but it was called Connections Classrooms or something. And she's like teaching Mormon principles and honestly, very much creating a NXIVM cult. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm the true prophet. And she wasn't saying that. She wasn't saying I'm a prophet. And Kevin even says the first meeting they went to, he was like, this is a man-hating club, but it's also a cult. And I laugh because I'm like, a cult within a cult? No way.
But then he kept going.
He did. He kept going because I think he saw how. So imagine though, this is why I want to cover the religious parts. You're with this person. Like if you divorce somebody, think about it this. In the Mormon church, you can be divorced. But you're still sealed. If you were sealed in the temple, you still have to spend eternity with that person.
Right.
So do you not go to where they want to go and divorce them and make them a miserable person, but then still have to spend eternity with them? Or
Yeah.
do you love them and like and they believe these things. The
Yeah.
principles that Jodi is preparing for these people and teaching to them, they believe. So it's not outlandish
Right.
to believe that they would all sit here
Yeah.
and believe her. And she's preaching that like the women should act like this way and the men should act like this way. And if you are not being the head of the household, then you're failing your wife. And a lot of Christians believe that. And
Yeah.
I don't ever believe my husband is failing me. And well, but then I believe I fail people a lot. You know, like it's one of those things where it's a self-conviction. But anyways, she's teaching these principles. They're all falling for it. It's a mass people. I will say the name of the town that these people live in is called Happy Valley. And I found that hilarious. And one of the guys in the documentary says, it genuinely is a happy place. People are happy to live here. But then you become so focused on showing that you're happy that you begin to pretend and like enhance your happiness. And
that's silly.
Yeah. And genuinely, I think that's what they were doing. They were trying to create this, we're happy because we're in this connections and we're 8 passengers. And so as they step away from 8 passengers, they step into connections. And Kevin and Ruby take leadership roles. And a lot of the leadership in that group are in this documentary. And they say it was really hard to watch because they'd been in it for years. And Ruby and Kevin just pop into it. During this, Jodi starts experiencing what we can only express as, she says, spiritual warfare. And so she calls Kevin and Ruby one day and says, you need to come to my house. They come to her house and she says there's dark spirits. By the way, this woman lives in the most beautiful house. If you and I could buy that house and just live there,
right?
Like,
it's huge.
We could have the chickens. Like, that place is so freaking pretty. It's go giant. Look at it. It's gorgeous. It's the basement. Like, there's a basement that's finished, and then there's like a basement, and that's the concrete room that they're all talking about. I was like, that's a second basement. But he's having spiritual warfare. She's a mess. Kevin says we believe it, so she insists they take her home.
Oh yeah, and live with them.
Yes. So
weird.
Everyone's a part of Connections. Sherry gets a phone call. Sherry is leaving for college in 2 weeks. And Ruby says, you have an hour to clean out your room. Jodi's moving in.
Oh, so they kick her out.
Kids. Oh, yeah. She said she goes in. She said she was mostly packed up anyway. She was going to college. So she goes in, packs up all her stuff. And then that day, Jodi moves into her room.
Weird.
So Jodi has a multi-million-dollar home.
Yeah.
Up in the most beautiful area in Utah. Like, gorgeous. I don't even know where. It's a super secluded, high-end town. And she moves into this $1 million home. Still multi-million-dollar home. With this family. Who has 6 kids. And so Jodi has kids. And has spouses that have since, I don't know anything about them, and they're almost impossible to find anything about. But she has no speaking terms with her kids, and her spouses, they've all left her, divorced.
Well,
so
now we know why.
She's alone. Yes. And a lot of people will say she was very and remember how this started for her. She was a psychologist, and she told on men that were struggling with porn addictions. And like, that's an addiction. It's something that they were seeking help for, and she was ratting them out essentially to their employers.
She was a man hater for sure.
Yes. Kevin says, we allowed her into our home. He said at this time, they believed that Jodi was called by God to be this person, to whatever she was doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, but he said she started experiencing, so she was still having these like spiritual warfare moments. It looked like she needed to have an exorcism. I think she was faking, to be honest.
Oh, I think so too.
And I think it was all...
Did they perform an exorcism?
They did. I think that's before... well, he would do them, right? Kevin would do them,
Yeah.
the exorcisms.
Right.
And he would spend hours praying over her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, I don't even know what to put. Like, I don't know what an exorcism is. I've never been a part of one, never been in one, never seen one.
Right.
Don't really ever want to. I've seen enough of the Catholic movies to know that I don't want to. But I have family members that have participated in some and been a part of removing spirits, and it's not something a normal Bible believing, Jesus believing
Mm-hmm.
Christian can walk into. I mean, faith is real, and with faith you can move mountains, and I believe that, and I believe you can command a spirit to leave. I believe I can do that in any room that I step into.
Right.
Exorcisms are different. So I don't believe normal people should just be doing that. And so at this time, this family believes that in the house with their 6 kids, there is a woman who's possessed
Yes.
and having full on spiritual war in her body. Voices, different. He didn't say languages, but voices, screaming, hitting herself. Still manages to wake up the next morning though and teach the man connections and film her YouTube channels. And like, that's to me what's so
She's like, the demon rests while I do this.
The demon can go to sleep, and me, Jodi, called by God, can get up and be just fine, but I can't make that demon leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's how it works. Kevin gets to the point that he's being asked to leave. Like,
Yeah.
they're just like,
go.
you can actually leave. And Ruby starts sleeping in the room with Jodi.
Yeah. Do you think that they were romantically involved?
I struggle with this because I struggle being a mom and a wife. I struggle to think that Ruby had knowledge of what Jodi was doing.
Right.
But I also can read bullshit.
Right. Same.
Like, that's an ADHD trait. If you don't have ADHD, I'm sorry, but you've probably been duped at some point in your life. But if you do have ADHD, people could tell you the God honest truth, and I'm like, I don't fucking believe you.
Same.
Like, didn't happen.
Is that ADHD? I thought I was just like had a really
dad
great
hangs out in the cupboard.
discernment.
Yeah, I don't know. So around this year, Sherry goes to college. Chad gets kicked out. So Jodi is slowly, again, we talked about this, isolating every person in this family. She tells Chad shares with Jodi in a, I don't even know what to call these things because they're not like a therapy session, I guess.
Yeah.
That he has been participating in watching porn. This 17-year-old man told this woman, I've been watching porn and I feel troubled about it.
Yeah.
And she straight told his mom that he was an evil spirit and needed to be removed from the house.
Wow.
And he believed it. Guys, I cannot express to you, like, the power of words to your children is so important. He believed it. He felt like the burden that was happening in their house, because everyone felt it, right? That no one knows what's happening. Chaos.
It was obviously Jodi, but nobody knew that.
Right. And they believe their values are held so high that if they disobey them, they disrupt everybody. So he believes that he has disrupted the house. He's asked to leave. So he moves.
So sad. And he's 17. Also,
and
does he go with his dad? Like, where is this kid going?
So they gave him an apartment. They like set him up in an apartment somewhere.
Well, at least there's that.
Then at the same time, they tell Kevin, we're going to need you to go too. You're also disrupting the household. And Kevin was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. my husband better punch me in the face if this ever happens. Like, this is
Right.
the instance in which abuse is okay. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But seriously though, like, I am confident that I've married a husband that if I went off the deep end and did something this outrageous, he'd be like,
He'd be
no,
like, hello.
I'm gonna have to take the kids now. You
Yeah.
have fun. You and Jodi go be your little thing.
Y'all figure
And
that out.
me and the kids are gonna go over here for a little bit while you figure out what the hell this is.
Yeah.
During this time, the youngest 2 children were pulled from school, and this video went viral. It was like a song that we know, but I don't remember the name of the song. But they play it at school. It was like "Shake Your Booty" something or another. She like cries in her car for hours on YouTube, and that day pulls her kids from school and shares this on YouTube that she's like pulling her kids from school as a punishment to them because they're not behaving.
Wow.
She's like, I pulled them out of school and made them wipe baseboards all day because they were misbehaving and they thought it was fun. And she's like mad. I'm like, if my parents pulled me out of school and let me stay home and do chores,
I'd be happy too.
Also thought that was cool.
Yeah.
You want me to clean the house instead of do homework?
Going to school?
Go to school? Absolutely. I don't have to run the mile.
Right.
But it's important to know these kids are so young. Like, oh, so young. I can't remember how old they were when they found her, but the youngest was 11, maybe.
I think the little boy was 12.
So maybe she's like 9 or 10.
Yeah, I think she's like 9.
They're being homeschooled. There's 4 kids. That's what's wild in all this. There's 4 kids still at home. 2 kids are out, and Kevin's out of the house. So it's Jodi, Ruby, and 4 kids. 2 boys, 2 girls. And they're like boy, girl, boy, girl. Girl's the youngest. And no one really knows what's happening, honestly, because the kids are not in school and 8 passengers is not happening. It's just connections. It's Jodi and Ruby getting on YouTube and teaching how to tell if your kids are dark or light.
And Kevin is not allowed to see his kids.
Not allowed to see them, not allowed to talk to them.
Kevin is not even allowed to talk to Sherry or
Sherry has been blocked. Sherry is the daughter you all want. She starts Googling people and she's like, this woman's insane. She's not really a therapist. Took all this to her parents. Her parents called her and left her a voicemail saying, you are no longer on our insurance. You are no longer on our phone bill. You are no longer this. You are no longer a part of the family, and blocked her on everything. So a couple months go by in this period, and Sherry's like, you know what? I'm calling the police.
Yeah.
So Sherry calls in a wellness check on her siblings, and the police come and do a wellness check. And while they are there, the neighbors come over and say they've never seen any signs of abuse. And in the documentary, all the neighbors say they regret that day and wish they had actually lied, because from that day forward, they never saw the kids again.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. If you are someone who lives next door to kids and then you don't see them, oh my gosh, call the police, because we've covered a few cases now that were like, clearly kids disappear inside the house, and that's alarming. Yeah. So everything has changed for this entire family. Every kid is essentially isolated. The 4 youngest are with mom and Jodi full time, not in school. Oldest is at college.
It was August 30th, 2023. That's when they were arrested.
In this multi-million-dollar household. So is that Jodi's neighborhood, wherever she lived. The multi-million-dollar in the desert, beautiful homes in Utah.
Yeah.
Gated community. You cannot get in if you don't live there. His doorbell rings, and he actually was the 3rd person to receive a doorbell ring this day, and the other people just didn't answer or weren't home. But he responds and says, how can I help you? And the boy says, I need you to do me a favor. And guy comes out and he goes, what do you need? And he goes, I need you to take me to the police station. And I'd never heard this in the documentary, but he does go on to say, do you have any food? I haven't eaten in like a week. And he explains to the man that he has 3 siblings living at home with him, but he doesn't know where they are in the house. He climbed out through
crazy.
He climbed out. So that's the other thing. He thinks in the house he was in, there are 3 other siblings.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
He climbed out through a window. In asking for help, he suddenly realizes he's going to be in trouble. So he actually asks this man not to call the police, but that he needs food for his sister. But he also doesn't want her to get, like, it's, this old man calls 911 and he is crying. And how do you explain a child coming to your door who looks like they just climbed out of the Holocaust?
Yeah.
And has duct tape around his hand. Now, duct tape sounds like he was restrained using duct tape. No, he has wounds so deep on his ankles and wrists that his mother wrapped them in gauze and then covered the gauze in duct tape. And that is what he has on his hands and his ankles when he is at this man's door. He is so thin that the man describes that he can see his Achilles tendon. He can see his ribs.
I believe that she had saran wrap.
Oh, yes. Saran wrap. You're right.
It was saran wrap and duct tape. And I remember the paramedics, I believe, had stated that it smelt like rotting flesh. His wounds.
Yeah. Yeah. He had wasting syndrome. Like we talked about with the guy who'd been held for 20 years.
Yes.
Like they were dying.
The guy did not know that he was 12. He thought he was younger because he was so thin. Correct.
So they come to respond to him, and as the paramedics are treating him, they are also having a hard time. They don't know how old he is. They know he's reported that he has 3 other siblings, so they're looking for said siblings. They enter the house that now Jodi is home.
Yeah.
And has no idea he's missing.
No clue.
No idea. They come to the door and she's like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, we need to search your house. She goes, do you have a warrant? And he's like, we don't need one. Get out the way. They storm into Jodi's house and they are just looking, because you have one child like this and he's the one that was strong enough to get out.
Right.
Where are the other 3 and what has happened? So the dispatching is crazy. They're on the phone with, like, they're on their walkie-talkies explaining, like, hey, we found a safe.
Yeah.
And that's how they explain it, is a safe room. It looks like a bank vault door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can't get in it. And they are just terrified that the kids are behind that door. And they finally find the girl, not in the safe room, but she is sitting in the middle of a concrete room in the dark, just sitting there. And they walk in, the first officer walks in and he sits down and he thinks it's a boy because her head has been shaved, and he is like soft-spoken. I heard months ago that I believe the officer had to sit there for 3.5 hours and talk to her to get her to feel safe enough to come with them. And she never, like, indicated that she was a girl. Like, that's the craziest thing, is it took them getting her to the hospital and helping her through all this that they even figured out that she was a girl. And they're still banging through this house thinking, where are the other 2 kids? Well, I can't wait to tell you. Have you seen the body cam footage from that arrest?
I've seen her arrest. Yeah.
Jodi and
Jody's
Ruby.
arrest?
But
Yeah.
what about the other family?
What other family?
So while they're searching this house, Ruby comes home and she does actually tell them where the other two kids are.
Okay, so because I didn't know where the other two kids were.
Okay. So Connections has this like large group of people. And this is also very common in cults, in high religious, I don't even know what to call cults, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
if your kids are misbehaving, you send them to someone's house and they'll like clean that person's house or like work for that person.
Yeah.
So Ruby says they're at my friend's house. They get to said friend's house and the police are like, we need to see A and B.
Yeah.
Right now. Lady's like, no.
What?
I can't believe you haven't seen this footage.
I have not.
But anyway.
Crazy.
She's like, no. And they're like, yeah, we need to see them. Their mother's been arrested. So come to find out, this woman was having missionaries or something come stay with her. So Ruby lent out her children to clean this woman's house to be ready for these missionaries to come stay in a clean house. And these kids were serving her essentially, like cleaning and serving. These are the middle two children. So also don't know their names, not going to share them, but boy and girl were found, were taken. That woman was actually arrested. So she was also a leader in the Mormon church, but also in Connections, and was arrested that day. And they took the kids, was hours away. Like that's what's crazy is like they're finding these children in completely different jurisdictions, not like the next city over, but like the cop that needs to actually talk to you will be here in like 2 or 3 hours.
Jesus.
Kevin gets a phone call and it says, you need to come. Kevin hasn't heard from his wife in a year, hasn't spoken to any of his kids, not one.
Which, like, bro, what are you doing?
Gets a phone call and it says, you need to come home. I'm being arrested. I can't believe the lies that the kids might be telling the police.
Wow.
And Kevin says in this moment, he believes her. He believes everything about this.
Right.
They are still mending their marriage and and the love of his life just called him to say, please come help.
Right.
He gets in the car, he goes, he gets to the police station and the police are like, how did you know to come here though?
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't tell you. He didn't tell them because he was so afraid because he didn't know what was happening. Yeah. And that's what's insane is like this detective, when she's sitting in the room and she goes, so you just like didn't see your kids for a year? And he was like,
how do you let that happen?
The worst part is his kids are starving to death. So
yeah,
in the meantime, in all of this chaos, everyone's being arrested, kids are being found. An officer goes, we have to check this freaking safe. Types in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it opens. And he's like, thank God this lady's an idiot and didn't know how to set up her safe. Because if you didn't know, most safes when you first get them are like,
they're like
whatever the combination in order.
Some generic.
They open this room. It has a toilet. It has a sink. It has medical gauze, bloody gauze everywhere. And the boy described, so when his mom when they would wound him, they would rope him to things, tie him to things. And when he would get wounds, they would make a cayenne pepper mixture and put it in the wound. So that's what the saran wrap was around.
Oh my God.
His wrists were completely worn away by rope and bloody. And they put cayenne pepper in his wounds, covered it in saran wrap, and then put duct tape on top of it.
Which I feel like saran wrap for a wound, not good.
None of this is good.
No, but it's like,
did they run out of gauze?
I don't know what brings somebody to put cayenne pepper.
Oh, is it for
torture? Yeah.
Yes. I grew up with a family. So it's funny now because I didn't grow up with them. We lived behind them for like 4 years in Colorado. But when I think about it now, I'm like, man, they might have been in a cult. I won't name a cult, but so many kids. Many kids. But even when we were there, Like if a kid would suck their thumb or lick their lips, the parents would put vinegar around their mouth. And I
Ugh.
remember hearing them like scream. And Daria had her collarbone broken by this family. She might
What?
have had her nose broken by them too. Like we were always
What
getting
is
hurt there. They
happening?
were always getting hurt. They had a ton of kids, but I remember things that they did that I felt were like very abusive to their
You
kids.
were a
And
kid?
I was a kid, as in Colorado.
When did
So
you live
before
there?
we moved to California.
Oh, wow. Before you moved to California.
Yeah, I went to fourth. I went to second and third in Colorado. First, second, and third, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then fourth in California. So, yeah, we were really young. I just remember, I don't remember any of their names,
Yeah.
but I remember things their parents did, and I thought that's
That's
probably not
odd.
good.
Yeah.
They had a shit ton of kids.
Crazy.
But yeah, so they find all the kids. It's not great. Kevin's in an interrogation. So last thing Kevin knows is he needs to move out because his family isn't doing well. He needs to improve
Right.
himself. Still in this time, we have to mention Kevin is still attending the Connections Man thing.
Good Lord, guy.
And
Get out
Chad
of that
is
thing.
still being counseled by her. Sherry is telling everybody that this bitch lives in her house and is insane. And
Wow.
so even people in Connections that had been very close, they started to realize that like Kevin was being shamed in the men's group. And so they kind of started to distance themselves because they were like, this is weird. This has gotten strange. And
Yeah.
then come to find out, Sherry's like, oh, she's living in my house.
Wow.
And they were like, I think we're going to take a step back. Jodi and her are arrested. There's actually been updates in this case, but they were sentenced and they're sentenced to 15 to 30 years.
Yeah, she pled guilty on December 18th, 2023 to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. And then it says she later pleaded not guilty to 2 other counts.
Yes. Well, as of yesterday, Jodi has actually appealed, which is
No.
it's very hard to do this, and she's not going to get any. And even her lawyer was like, not surprised, but I did not see this coming.
What's crazy is that Ruby Franke is testifying against her. Or she did.
Well, they both pled guilty.
Right, but she's testifying against Hildebrandt, or she did.
Okay.
So that 2 of her charges were dropped as a part of a plea deal. That's crazy.
Oh, that Ruby's.
Yes.
Okay. So Jodi is appealing her entire confession, her
What?
guilty plea. She is saying she had ineffective counsel, which is a very common reason to plea, or a very common appeal. Most people appeal on ineffective counsel. But she is claiming that she did not abuse these children, she didn't understand her rights, and that she wants to take it all back.
I wish the court system could be like, too bad, bitch, you already did it.
So there are ladies who have been in jail with these ladies that say they spend time together in court. Like there are ladies who have gotten out who have said that like they're still chummy.
Yeah, no. Lock those bitches away for life. No, thank you.
It just is so strange. I don't know. The whole thing is weird. I don't think Ruby is in her right mind. I don't know. I don't know enough about brainwashing or any of that to know like if she was truly, because I told Gloria when I was watching the documentary, you know, I watched all the footage of them before, I've watched it since, and Ruby stays silent. Jodi is a talking little monster.
I think it's not to incriminate herself, though.
Yeah. It's just weirdly silent.
I only think that it's not all of the brainwashing, or even that she is brainwashed. only because the kids themselves have come out and said that
Yeah.
Jodi, they just feel like she unlocked something that was already
Right.
in their mom.
Yeah.
So if her own kids are seeing this like side of her that is evil already, and then she goes and gets together with Jodi, and then she has Jodi telling her like, "Oh, you're doing a great job. Like this is great, but like step it up a little bit."
Yeah.
I do think Jodi is kind of like the ringmaster,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think that because she's like a psychologist or a therapist or whatever the fuck she was,
Yeah.
I do think that she can kind of like mess with your
Manipulate.
head. Yeah,
Yeah.
manipulate situations. And
Mm-hmm.
even the wording she uses, the like distortion.
Yes. And
Chad
I
was talking about it. He's like, I to this day still don't even know what it means really, but I think she took a word and created a meaning for it and said, this is what this is.
and this is very common in cult tactics.
Right.
They create, like, people leave Scientology or leave even if you are on TikTok and you have seen the BYU students talking about soaking
Oh, yeah.
all that weird stuff.
Yeah. And for the kids' sake, like Chad was saying in that podcast that a lot of people online were like, how did you not know? And he's like, I was a kid.
They were raised in this.
Yeah.
You don't
like
know.
this is your mom and dad.
Yeah.
You listen to what your mom and dad say.
Yes.
That's why it's so
The power of words with your children.
Yes. You
Yes.
really have to be careful as a parent, the things that you're saying to your kids, because they believe everything that comes out of your mouth.
Yes.
It's like goes back to the fucking light on in the car. Okay.
Mhm.
I believed it for my whole life. And then my husband was like,
That's not
that is
illegal.
that is not true.
You also need to listen to your kids, and sometimes
Yes.
silence is deafening. Like, my youngest likes to just be quiet when she's upset. And that's when you know something. Like, I know today I'm going to have to go talk to her and be like, what happened yesterday? Because something's off.
Yeah.
And I kind of love having those moments as a parent. And
Me too.
it's something I'm having to learn because
Yeah.
that wasn't necessarily my household. My parents are very independent and loving and caring
Mhm.
people. But we just had a shit ton of stuff going on in our life in childhood. And I do too, but I don't have quite as much. My mom was off fighting wars. And I'm like, I'm just here for you. And
Yeah.
having those moments where you talk. So my kids and I have started having this talk where, because the other night they said something about alcohol or getting drunk. And I was like, have you ever seen us drunk? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, you are probably going to get drunk someday. And so we started having these like scenarios. And I'm like,
Right.
You're 15. Someone gives you a beer. You want the beer. You drink the beer. Who you going to call? They're like, mom. I'm like, cool. Same scenario. You don't want the beer, but they're trying to get you to give it. And they're like, I'm like, who are you going to call? And we like have those conversations of, I'm going to tell it to you 1,000,000 times now. So when you're 14, you don't like me anymore. You still remember that you can still call me. And I didn't feel that way with my parents, not because they didn't offer that love, but because it was never truly said.
Yeah.
Explicitly.
It just
call me,
wasn't
I won't
talked about.
care. I will just come to your rescue. Because I don't think it was ever thought by our parents' generation they were going to have to rescue us.
No, and also my mom says all the time, like, I just really trusted that all of you were going to do what you were supposed to do.
And that we were with people that were going to protect us.
Right.
Like, and I, to this day, there are people that my parents put me in their homes that I trust to talk to about anything. Like, anything happens in my family and I call Amy or Bob. And like,
right.
when we visit California, when they were still there, I would visit them and stay with them. And they were
Mhm.
they're still people I trust. They were my village. Yeah, I wanted to also share some statistics about child exploitation because something I feel really strongly about with my kids not wanting to be on the internet a ton and
Yeah.
me not wanting them to be, um, is just how many children are on the internet today and what that can mean and what
Mhm.
like can come from that. So, some things I found were the there's an estimated 300 million children under the age of 18 that have been affected by online child sexual exploitation and abuse in the past year.
Wow.
300 million children under the age of 18 that have been affected in the last year
That is
by
scary.
sexual exploitation.
It's scary that it's only in the last year.
Random people are using that
Mhm.
may have access to your children, or you put a public photo out there and they can download that photo and you've seen them, the Theo Vaughn like videos of him as a baby
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
dying.
Weird,
So
yeah.
stinking cute. Imagine it's your kid.
Yeah, I always feel a certain type of way about like on the apps for school,
Mm-hmm.
teachers will send like, "Oh, here's pictures from the
I
day,"
don't
or
like it.
like, I don't like it either.
Mm-mm. I
Also,
do.
if I get sent a picture of my kid with other kids,
Mhm.
if I choose to post that, I always put emojis over the
Over
other
their
kids'
faces.
faces
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know them and I don't know their life and I don't know what their parents care
Yeah.
about or
Yeah.
but yeah, it always rubs me the wrong way a little bit.
Yeah. Don't send pictures of other people's kids.
Yeah, it's super
Don't
weird.
honestly, please don't take I've worked in schools. I loved taking pictures of my students and like
Right.
showing them and sharing them with them and then delete them all at the end of the day or at the end of the school year. But like now I don't think I would.
Yeah.
It's just so scary to even have them on your phone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hyper paranoid. I don't know what that noise
Yeah,
was.
same.
Um, so another statistic is the prevalence of child abuse. It's including online abuse, the overall child sexual abuse prevalence rate in the United States has increased from 13.5% last year to 21.7% this year.
Wow.
I don't even understand fully what that statistic means,
Right.
but I think it's just saying like the amount of people that are affected by it has
Right.
gone up. Um,
Well, and with AI, I'm
yeah,
sure
so that's
it's been disgusting.
what people are using. So between 2021 or October of 2021 and March of 2020,000 between October of 2021 and March of 2023, over
Mhm.
13,000 reports of online financial sextortion. So we've talked about this of
Mhm.
minors were received, involving at least 12,600 victims and leading to 20 suicides at least.
Wow.
So this is something that's happening. Remember when we were kids and they were like, don't send nudes
Yeah.
because that person will use them against you?
Yeah.
So people in other countries are getting a hold of them. So they're like adding our kids on social media
Yep.
and under like a face and Karen or Sarah or whatever the name is. And they're like, I totally love you and you love me too. And then they're like,
Mhm.
send me a nude. And the minute your kid does, they're telling your child that they're going to share the photo with all of their family unless they
Mhm.
give them money. And
Yep.
you know what? Our kids don't have
Money.
money.
Yeah.
Kids are literally killing themselves
Mhm.
over walking down the hall and telling their parents that they sent a naked photo.
Right.
And I'm like, wake me up.
Yeah.
But this is also why my kids cannot have a phone, right? Like
Yeah, I mean my daughter has a phone and I recently just let her get Instagram.
at 15, my kids will
And
have phones because they're going to call me, right? Like they have to be able to
well,
call
yeah,
you.
as soon as my daughter didn't get one until she was in junior high.
Yeah.
My daughter goes to a junior senior high school. So she is in junior high, but she's going to a high school. with kids that are in 12th grade and below. And so I felt she's going to school with people that are older than her.
Mm-hmm.
I need to have constant communication with you.
Yes.
If anything happened, I would hope you call me first. Let me know what's going on so that I can take care of it immediately. And God forbid, I'm not saying that any of these boys would do anything to her, but God forbid some senior like takes advantage of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got her a phone as soon as we're like right before she went into 7th grade, because our school out here goes to 6th grade, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently just let her get Instagram, and we always have the conversation, even playing Roblox. Roblox is a game
my kids play
where, and literally like older people are playing the game. My kids still play the game, my older ones. I've had conversations with them as a child. Never give out your real name. Never tell anybody where you live. Don't talk to anybody that you do not know on the game.
Girl, my 6-year-old pretended to know someone, because we also have those rules. Like, we only add people we meet, like our friends.
Yes.
And we know their names, so we search them.
Yes.
We do not
in
accept
real life
requests. Yes.
Yeah.
My 6-year-old gets this random request one day. I'm like, who's that? She goes, I know them. Great. Who are they? But you don't know them. Bye.
Yeah. So
no.
I told her, like, you can add people from school. You can add your aunts, your grandma. Like, you cannot add people you don't know. And if somebody messages you, immediately block them. Do not talk to them.
And bring it to me. Like, let me see.
Yes.
I'm so proud of us because I think a big part of like learning our way through this generation too, and learning to be parents, is learning that our kids are going to be put in the shittiest situations.
Oh, hell yeah. Especially with the internet.
Oh, yes. And they're going to mess up because we had it, right? Like,
yeah.
And we didn't know what we were doing. They don't know what they're doing. And
yeah,
all they know is what they've learned from the people around them that have had it their whole lives now. Like some kids that my kid sits next to at the friggin' recitals has a phone. And she's like, can't wait to have a phone. I'm like, stop looking at the phone. Like, we're at a recital. And that's the girl I know that when my daughter gets a phone, she's going to want her number. And that girl's going to already be experienced. And so having a way to navigate this without shaming your children and making them feel like they messed up because they're just learning. We just learn. Gloria and I talk about all the time. Our parents love them. They were children when they had us, and Gloria's mom, literally, it was a child.
I mean, not when she had me, but she was 40 when she had me.
Did I send you that thing that was like, dark entities follow me around? It's like, yeah, my toddler does that too.
That's my favorite.
Toddlers. Oh,
my daughter is 1. She's 1.5. She'll be 2 in November, and the terrible 2s are starting. Yeah, toddlers are awful, dude.
Yeah.
Once you get out of the toddler stage, though, it is nice. Although my 5-year-old is at a stage where she like thinks she knows everything. I don't like that stage either.
Does that go away?
No.
Until you're an adult. So I probably kept the I know everything stage until like, I don't know, my 2nd year of marriage. And then I was like, okay, I want everyone else to know everything and tell me what I need to do.
I tell my kids that I do not know everything.
I know nothing.
And that I am a learning human being in the world, just like they are. And if I don't know something, I'm like, do you want to research it together so that we both learn it? Because I don't know it either.
Yes. I tried to watch the documentary about, I don't even know, some girl on TikTok. Piper Raquel.
Oh, yes. I watched the whole thing.
I couldn't.
I watched the whole thing. It's disgusting.
I couldn't. I got 3 minutes in. I was like, no.
The things, you should have watched it all. I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it's important to watch it because it is so many stories, so many kids. This is happening so much right now.
Yeah.
And the things that those kids were directed to do in these videos, to make out, you guys are children. All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Have conversations with your kids. Don't shame. We're all still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Grown ass adults still cheat on their spouses. Your kid can kiss somebody and still have a perfectly fine life.
Yeah, I agree.
And you could be like Gloria and get pregnant at 19 and still be fine.
Yeah.
And live. Everyone stayed alive.
Yeah. Everybody's fine.
Yep.
Everything's fine.
The world is fine. Don't join a cult.
When I'm 50 or 60, whatever,
bro,
and I have all grown kids, okay?
When we are 50 and 60, can we be streamers? Like, we could be Twitch. Like, you could teach me how to game. And
that would be fun.
We can game on Twitch all day.
That would be fun. I'm addicted to Stardew Valley right now. That's my game of choice for now.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a farm simulation game. It's so fun.
Farm simulation.
Yeah.
Like, what was that one on Facebook?
Oh,
Farmville.
Yeah, I played that for a little bit too. I did for a little bit. All right.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for listening to
we
all
know
this
it was chaotic.
All the chaos.
Yes. And everyone, well, when this goes up, we hope you had a great week following your Mother's Day.
Yes.
And we need to get better at like predicting like what's coming up. What's next
like
weekend?
During the week?
Well, like on Friday.
Well, I think this is the fourth week of court for Karen Reed, but I think we're taking a break from Karen Reed because we need a break.
Yeah. So when we're recording, this is a Saturday. Tomorrow's Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day, everybody. Sorry. Next week, my kid has a birthday party to go to. Fun. And my car payment's due this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go
bake bread and go to a concert.
Oh yeah, I have to bake bread before I leave. Fuck.
Don't forget. I'm gonna go do yard work, and my oil needs changed, and my brakes need replaced.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Yes, and
we're happy to have you.
Yes, like, comment, engage, share us to your friends. Be like,
and
these
remember,
girls are crazy.
We're on Instagram. We are on YouTube.
Yes. We're on.
And wherever else you listen to podcasts.
Yes.
For audio, we are there.
Yes. And if we're not, let us know and we can make it happen.
Yes.
But yeah, we live here in the chaos, and we're just here for the company. So yeah, glad you came and hung out, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.